You're listening to Up the Turnpike with hosts Mitch Anderson and Matt O'Leary.
What is going on, Islanders fans? Welcome into another Up the Turnpike post game, the morning after edition. Islanders out west in Vegas, 10 o'clock puck drop. Fortunately, we're not going live at 1:30 in the morning. So instead, we're recording on Friday morning. The New York Islanders win 4-0 over the Vegas Golden Knights. How about it, Mitch?
It feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. Although we'll come crashing right back down to earth when we talk about Lou Lamoriello's comments. I'm sure that's going to come up somehow naturally in this podcast.
Sure.
But it feels good to wake up like that. To be fair, I watched until the second period, and then I fell asleep in the intermission. But then waking up knowing that they had scored the extra goal and that they hadn't conceded in the third, hallelujah, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Again, the Lou comments scare me. And a win probably doesn't help that cause, but sorry, beating a good team is still exciting. And as we said in one of the post games recently, like they're going to win games. They're not losing the rest of the way out, even if we still want change. And I think like this win does not change that for either of us. We still would like to see Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri moved at the trade deadline, but a really nice performance against a good team is exciting.
Yeah, and classic Islander, at least this year, Islanders, where they beat good teams. They seem to just have this thing where they get up for good teams and then not so much for the mediocre and bad teams, which is just so goddamn frustrating because they were the scoreline justifies how well the Islanders played today or yesterday. It really does.
It does. And let's get into it, Mitch. In the first period, goal actually gets called back. So a little offside negates what would have been the first goal of the game, which was going for Vegas. Your thoughts on that and the goal?
I mean, how much would have that changed the game, do you think, if it goes in?
I mean, another power play goal against like that. When I was watching, I was like, oh, here we go. Like, going up against a really good team, they're going to get off to the quick start. And it's disappointing because I thought they were playing well. And then I see the challenge for offside, and it was clear it was offside by a lot. It wasn't particularly close either. So I was like, oh, okay. Something that breaks right for the Islanders. I'll take it.
Yeah, and they seem to generate some momentum off it, going like, oh, guys, like they woke up type of thing, which they shouldn't need. You shouldn't need to have a goal rescinded to be like, oh, we're playing hockey again? Oh, my God, let's do the thing. And then do the goddamn thing. It should just be that from puck drop, which has been a problem with these Islanders for not just this year, but at least the last 2 years, really, where it takes them something to get into a game. Like the stakes have to be real to them, almost like tangibly, instead of conceptually when you get into the game, like you got to play to win the game type of thing. And they don't get that coming out on the ice. Thankfully, they had a goal call back, and then a light bulb goes off, or on, I should say, and they go nuts.
And they go nuts indeed. So let's pull up the first goal. Anders Lee just cannot stop scoring goals. Number 19 on the year. Brock Nelson picks up a point too. How about it?
Yeah, and even on the broadcast, they're like, man, sometimes when you're hot, you're just hot because there's not much to this. Brock picks off a play, and then he throws it on net, does Lee, and Aiden Hill does a really bad job of covering the 5-hole. And I can say that because I also do a really bad job at scoring the 5-hole. Like last night, I was also playing hockey. And the guys on the other team were like, you should get bigger pants to cover your 5-hole because I could see everything. So I get it, Aiden Hill, but you darn done didn't do a good job there, bud. And Anders Lee, hot stick, gets it. My gosh.
Just put pucks on net. And all the goals that he's scoring this year were things that wasn't happening last year, right? Like he was just never able to convert on those chances right in front of the net. And I'm here for the resurgence. It makes me happy because I'm a big Anders Lee guy. He's one of my favorite Islanders ever. He had a really disappointing season last year, only 20 goals on the entire season. He's got 19 at this point.
19. Can you talk yourself into 40-goal Anders Lee again?
I don't know if he gets 40. I'm thinking like between 30 and 35 goals is where he ends up.
I think that's the more appropriate prognostication, if you will, but I'm going 40, baby. Give me one last 40-goal season for Anders Lee. Like a season that doesn't matter, and he still scores 40. Let something matter.
Yeah, that would be exciting. So it's exactly the halfway point of the season now, and he's got 19 goals. So he's pacing for just under that 38. But that could change rather quickly. Like we know that he's someone who could have a 2-goal game, and then suddenly he's back on pace for 40 points. 40.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's go all of it. I thought they ended the first period really well. They were the dominant team. Vegas could not wait for that final whistle on the 20 minutes to hit so they can get the hell off the ice.
Yeah, and not a lot of shots overall
Mm-hmm.
in this first period. It ended up 8-6, but the Islanders had like one shot, like deep, deep, deep into this first period too.
Yeah, it was all Vegas to begin with, and then they get the penalty, and then the goal called back, or I should say they get the power play, and the goal called back, and the Islanders again, light bulb went off, and they just started playing again. Corsi ended up even at 18-18 apiece. So the Islanders really pulled their way through this period. So good job by them for keeping up.
And that second period would be more of the same, and Islanders make it a 2-goal lead. 5:30 into the period as Brock Nelson finally gets a goal. The first time since, I don't know, 2017, Brock Nelson scores.
Yeah, and the play here by Romy, both intercepting
Yeah.
that pass, fan-friggin-tastic. And then, Barzy to set up Nelson, and he just rips it. I don't know if it went into the toy department, but I don't care.
No,
P.S. How about these goddamn ads on the video replay, huh?
Yeah, that's new, right? I don't remember seeing this.
Got to commoditize everything, I suppose.
But yes, I'm glad that you mentioned the play by Romanov picking up the secondary assist on this one, because great play at the blue line to step up, intercept the pass, and then send Matt Barzal and Brock Nelson on their way. And
was the hip check before this or slightly after this? There's a play by Romanov along the boards where he just hip checks someone and just nullifies the play, and then it goes back the other way. Like Romanov was on one tonight. He picks up 2 helpers, and he was fan-friggin-tastic all night long.
It was a good Romanov night, and the Islanders need more of that, especially from Romanov, Dobson. They need those guys to be pretty much the top pair going forward. I know we've had discussions about a Noah Dobson trade, but just in general, right? Like, assume that they want to keep both of their 24-year-old defensemen. Them playing at this level more consistently would be ideal for like not only the short term, but obviously long term as well.
Exactly, you're right, because they turned 25, I think, just this week, both of them, and so they're in their prime. As a defenseman, you're typically entering your prime at 25, and then going up until like basically your 30-year season. So we're now in prime Romanov, no Dobson territory. They might still have some room to grow, clearly, as we've seen, and they might still achieve that. But it's not going to get any worse than this at this point. It's only going to get a little bit better and then plateau for a couple of years. So
yeah,
let's go.
The next you hope at least for the two of them, the next 5 to 7 years is like their prime working window.
Exactly. But yeah, the Islanders were really, really good in this period, and it did not end with a Brock Nelson goal.
No, Bo Horvat gets on the board, and Kyle Palmieri, who needed some points as well with a nice play here to set it up.
Absolutely, right there. And all Bo does, drive to the net. See, watch him curl and drive to the net. Boom, done.
I love it. Just go to the net. And a nice goal, too. Like, he put himself in a really good spot. And it's a tough play, too, because I thought he was covered, relatively well, but just outskated him.
Outpositioned him. He instead of going from the outside to sneak behind him, he realized if I do that, then he's got position on me. He can stop the puck before it gets to me. So I'm going to go in on the inside. Loses maybe a step type of thing to do that move, but gets on the inside, and then I have position. Do you think that Pierre Engvall was on the bench just taking notes? Like, that's what you mean, huh?
I hope so, because with his speed, there's no reason that he shouldn't do, and size too. I feel like a broken record because we talk about it literally all the time, but it's true. Someone at that size with that speed, that's exactly what he should be doing.
It's really just driving to the net, man. And I know he's not playing center, so that's typically not his role to be patrolling the middle of the ice as Bo Horvat is doing there. But when you find yourself in that position, which you invariably will at some point,
sure,
just drive to the net, baby. Just go to the net.
But there's times where the center has the puck below the goal line.
Absolutely. And then you got to step in and be that center. North-South hockey, man, that's what you have to do. I don't understand why it's so strange for him to figure that out now at 20 some odd years old.
No, I mean, unfortunately, he hasn't figured it out yet, so I don't think it's going to happen. And I get why the frustration is there for a guy like Patrick Waugh coaching this guy and having someone with his size and speed that just refuses to go to the front of the net. But good on Bo Horvat. Good goal. He's been really good lately too. So he had a very cold streak, but he's starting to look like the Bo Horvat we know and love.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, 13 goals on the season. Kyle Palmieri also gets a point. I feel like he's been a little cold as well.
Yeah, he has.
So both of our trade bait babies picking up points. Let's go.
Stock up. And maybe that's a good spot to work in the Lou comments here. I know you did a video on it yesterday on the channel, but do you want to share what sparked this?
Yeah, so Lou was asked in basically halfway point kind of press conferences, as most GMs are doing. He not only told us about the injuries and updates there, but told us that the team is he's still fully confident in this team, which we've heard for the last bajillion years, it feels like. And then says that he's not really thinking about, or not thinking at all of trading Brock Nelson and or Kyle Palmieri at this time, because they're still in contention.
I think the word contention sent chills down my spine in a bad way. Not something that I wanted to hear. I'm hoping that Lou doesn't feel the same way in a month and a half.
Because sure, the Islanders are what, 5? Yeah, they're still 5 points back because Columbus won again last night. Unbelievable. 6-3, I think it was. It's ridiculous. Or Zach Werenski is on something like positive. I'm trying to say here, because he's now over a point per game. Doesn't matter. We're not here to talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets. But the Islanders are now 5 points out of a playoff spot. They have a game in hand on those Columbus Blue Jackets, but you still have to leapfrog, as I said in the video, a bunch of teams. The Rangers, who shouldn't be this bad and won last night, Detroit, Montreal, Ottawa, and Pittsburgh, as well as Columbus. Now, starting the season, you'd figure to yourself, we'll be able to leapfrog Columbus, Pittsburgh, Ottawa, Montreal, and Detroit. That's not the case anymore, man. Detroit's won 5 in a row.
No, they've looked really good since making the coaching change.
Yep. And then Ottawa, the second they get Linus Ullmark back, watch out. Montreal is 8-2-0 in their last 10. The vibes are good in Quebec land. So it's really tough sledding for the Islanders. And so to be like, I'm not going to trade them. Oh, that's not what we wanted to hear.
No, definitely not what we wanted to hear. But again, there's still maybe a month out. And also, too, and just something basically you said in the video, but almost what do you expect Lou Lamoriello to say?
Yeah, almost. I would have liked for him to just kind of be a regular Stonewall Lou and just be like, we're just taking it a game at a time and just go from there. You don't have to say yes. You don't have to say no. Just don't say anything on it. And you leave your options open. My only hope is that he's long conning it. And he's like, I don't feel like trading them. So the people who really want Brock Nelson or Kyle Palmieri really have to, give us an offer we can't refuse type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. I can get behind that theory.
And that he will do the right thing when the time is right.
The right thing would not be running Kyle Palmieri and Brock Nelson right to free agency.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be so frustrating. So frustrating. Even if we're in a playoff position, man, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, because I don't know. Like, even after, so here's my thing. I would still trade both those guys, and then whatever happens after that, I'm not saying like, oh my God, they got to go full tank mode. And then if they don't end up with that number 1 pick, it's been a failure. Like, if they win games and are hanging around, after that, and maybe they make the playoffs, or maybe they just finish a couple points out and then end up with like, I don't know, the 13th pick in the draft or something. Like, I'm still okay with that if they moved those guys and got the proper assets to get this going in the right direction again.
Absolutely. Well, Washington Capitals, man. The Washington Capitals last year were in it. They made the playoffs. They traded Dmitry Orlov. They traded Kuznetsov. There was someone else they traded as well. I forget. That doesn't necessarily matter. And they still made the playoffs. And didn't they make a selection in the first round as well? Washington in the 17th overall. Tarek Paraskak. I don't know anything about him. 52 points in 35 games in the WHL, 105 and 68 last year with 43 goals. Seems like a pretty goddamn good player they picked up on top of everything else they did. And now they're a 100-point team.
Yeah. Good for them. It worked. Competitive retool. And it worked.
Exactly. So, and it's not to say we have to do exactly what Washington did, but like there are things that you can do like Washington, like other teams, and really get back into this right away.
Yeah, they didn't really like completely suck. I mean, they had the 100-point year in 2022. Then they dropped down to 80 points in 23. That's when they landed Sandine midseason,
Right.
which ended up being a really good trade for them, I thought anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Then, they still trade some bodies, finished with 91 points in a wild card spot. And now this year they're winning at a 707 points percentage. They've been their best season since 2017.
Yeah, they're leading the Metropolitan Division and have a plus 41 goal differential.
They've been good. They've been really good.
Is that the best in the league? It's second best after Winnipeg at plus 46. Insane.
Good for them.
But options. We have options, and it's not keeping your guys who are on expiring contracts who you're just you're going to lose out on assets for no reason.
Yeah, you're not signing them in their mid-30s.
Please God, no. Oh my God, no.
So, Mitch, let's get to this third period. For the New York Islanders. They would score the lone goal, and it came as an empty net goal from Casey Cizikas here.
Yeah, Casey needed a goal, man. It's just good stuff. Bad play by the Vegas Golden Knights, and then Ziegler just kind of wins out a race there. And they were all caught flat-footed, so he's going to win that no matter what. But to me, the big thing isn't just necessarily the goal. It's they were able to hold on to a multi-goal lead going into the third period. They got massively outshot, at least outshot attempt 21-9 in that period. Expected goals were 79% in favor of the Golden Knights at 0.72 to 0.19 at 5-on-5. The Islanders did have a power play in that period. Expect a high danger chance of 75%. Like all the things said that the Vegas Golden Knights should have done something in that third period, but they didn't because the Islanders were resilient. They held fast, and then Sorokin did his job.
Yep, absolutely. Sorokin did do his job tonight as he finished with a shutout and a 4-0 New York Islanders win against a really damn good team.
Exactly. Against a really goddamn good team. It really feels good to get one of those. And like you're saying, that doesn't change anything overall, but it feels really good to wake up and have one of those.
It does. So I'll give you some game stats before we get into our box score and final thoughts. Shots 30-21, Vegas with more. Islanders dominated the faceoff dot 61.4%. Each team 0 for 1 on the power play, so 2 penalty minutes a pop. Islanders more hits 19-12, a ton of block shots 21-8 for the Isles. Giveaways 18 for Vegas, 14 for the Islanders, and takeaways 4-3, the Islanders with 1 more.
Yeah, it's a lot of block shots by the Islanders, but it makes sense because the Vegas Golden Knights had, 61% of the Corsi 4. So 61% of the shot attempts at 64-41. So it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. But then when you bring that down to the shots, it's 47-30. The differential isn't that big.
Yeah. So we'll take that. Let's do the box score game, Mitch. Who do we got leading the way for the New York Islanders?
I want to assume it's Matthew Barzal.
It is 20 minutes and 21 seconds for Matt Barzal. I thought he played well in this game.
He did. He looked back. His regular shape. He shot a bunch too. I don't know how many shot he got on net. It's pretty good for Matthew Barzal. I like that.
Yeah, more of that from him, please.
Least amount of ice time is I forget who's even out there for that fourth line. Who apparently is still our identity. Another loose thing that I don't friggin' understand.
Great.
I'm gonna say Kyle McLean has least amount of ice time.
No, it's Matt Martin at 7 minutes and 6 seconds. Kyle McLean was third fewest at 9:58.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I didn't see Matt Martin play at all. Didn't see him at all.
Yeah, just 10 shifts for him.
Yeah. Oof. Okay, whatever. I still don't understand Lou's comments where the fourth line was still our identity going into the season. You lost 2/3 of that top line, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
How is that still your identity, man? Can't do that.
No, it's not.
Unbelievable. Defense. I assume it's Noah Dawson, but I desperately want it to be Alex Romanov because he's playing so goddamn well.
Romanov was actually fourth. Wow. But there's a lot of guys with close ice time. So I'll give it to you. Dobson is leading the way. You're right at 24 minutes, 37 seconds. Pulock 21:46, Pelech 21:44, and then Romanov at 20:58.
Okay. And then so that leaves either Cholowski or Mayfield as the least amount of ice time. I'm going to say it's Cholowski, but I'm not sure because Scott Mayfield's got that hooking penalty.
So it's pretty close. It is Chalowski, but it's close. 14 minutes, 46 seconds for Chalowski. Mayfield finished with 15:07.
Yeah. Okay. See, the penalty kind of like brings it down a little bit there. Plus, this is only the one kill, right? So
Yeah. But I've said this for a while. Like, I like the thought of Mayfield and, Isaiah George when he's healthy. But for now, Chalowski chilling around 15 minutes a night is okay with me.
that's totally fine. That's what your third pair is there to do. They're either specialists or they're there for, just to give your big guys a break.
Yeah. And your ice time leader at like 24.5. And then the other guys in your top four between essentially 21 minutes and 22. Like, I'm good with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's how NHL teams operate nowadays.
So Sorokin with the shutout stopped 30 of 30. He was excellent in this game.
He really was. And like the Golden Knights put on a show in the third period. Again, Corsi 21-9 in favor of the Golden Knights. Expected goals for them in all situations, 3.11. So he stopped 3.11 goals above expected, which is phenomenal for a single game.
By the way, here's a stat for you. Ilya Sorokin becomes the second fastest goalie to reach 20 career shutouts in 222 games played.
It really doesn't feel like he's been there that long for like 200 some odd games, but that's wild. 10%, almost 10% of his games are shutouts.
Yeah, and I mean, it was significantly higher for the first 2-3 years of his career, but the last two haven't been up to his usual standards. So hopefully more of this version of Ilya Sorokin going forward. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, because we still have him for another 7 years. Yeah, we need that.
We do need it. And I'm not out on Ilya Sorokin. I think he's been mostly okay this year.
I think he's been much better. Last year was not good because of the whole back thing, but like he's been much, much better this year. Yeah, I agree.
So more of that version of Ilya Sorokin. But any final thoughts as we wrap here as the New York Islanders win 4-0?
It feels really good, again, to wake up with a win against a really good team. But let's calm down. Please Islanders, calm down.
Let's not get over our skis here.
Yeah, we don't want Lou Lamoriello to be like, I'm not making any moves. I'm buying, baby.
Yeah, they rattle off a 10 game win streak. You're like, oh no. Here we
go. Here we go. As much as that would be fun, it would just be like, now what?
Yeah, then you're really, really stuck where it feels like there's an obvious path for this team right now.
Yeah, agreed. So any final thoughts from you?
No, that's pretty much it. So I think that'll do it for us on this episode. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Check out the Patreon for 2 podcasts a week and bonus content over there. I'm Matt. He's Mitch, and we will catch you next time.